proved that the Democrat Party's main constituency are made up of Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals. That is who the Democrat Party is catering to, not the Trump administration and not the White House and not the Republican Party, who is standing up for law-abiding Americans, not just across the country, but around the world. And that's
Caroline Levitt. The Democrat Party, the smile, the twang, she's just so proud of her hate. Hate. She hates us. She hates Americans. She hates people who disagree with Trump. It's hate. And look, you and I both know it, okay? Let's not couch this. It's classic reflection. It's classic, no introspection whatsoever. They smile and giggle about hating our guts. They hate what we stand for. They hate that we're fighting for our freedom. They hate that we are allowed to use our voices. That's the key, that we are allowed to use our voices. And we're on the eve of No King's Day, which I'm excited about. I was an organizer for the last one here in St. Louis, where I live. We will be out there. My team and I will be out all over the region tomorrow, visiting some of the rallies, seeing some of my friends out there, hoping many, many turn out peacefully and patriotically. But look at this. Look, this is the Speaker of the House, one of the three most powerful people in America. This is what he thinks of peaceful protesters in America.
Now, tomorrow, the Democrat leaders are going to join for a big party out on the National Mall. They're going to descend on our Capitol for their much anticipated so-called No Kings rally. We refer to it by its more accurate description, the Hate America rally, okay? And I'm not sure how anybody can refute that. If you think about what's going to happen here tomorrow, you're going to bring together the Marxists, the socialists, the Antifa advocates, the anarchists, and the pro-Hamas wing of the far-left Democrat Party. That is the modern Democratic Party. That's where they've gone. And the Hate America rally is the common theme among all those groups. Listen to the language they use themselves. Many of them don't like living in America. They hate capitalism. They hate our free enterprise system. They hate our principles. They hate the ideas that we come in to work every day to fight for, to preserve, in the greatest nation in the history of the world. They hate the idea of individual freedom and limited government. They hate the idea of the rule of law. They fight against it all the time. They hate.
Those are all fucking lies. Those are lies. We love this country. A lot of my veteran friends are going to be out there. We love America. We don't like you, Mike. We don't like Donald Trump. We don't like what you stand for. Freedom of choice. These are people that have been obsessively hunting down anyone who dared criticize Charlie Kirk after his death, a private citizen. They got hundreds of people fired. People in the military were punished for saying a negative thing about a private citizen. That's not freedom of speech. That's hate. Antifa, Marxist. That's not who's gathering. My God, we had the Sisters of Mercy. We got freaking nuns out there. They know that. They're trying to frame it because they know they're in trouble. Look at their faces during that clip. Look at the hatred on their faces. They despise average Americans who dare criticize them. And all that comes in the same week that the stories came out about the group chat of the young young Republicans who aren't young. He's a state senator in his 30s, 27 or 20. Those are same age as my kids who are grown-ass adults and are responsible for their actions. And J.D. Vance tried to write it off. That's the same week we find out they're laughing about gas chambers and killing people in their group text on Telegram. The same week, a staffer of a Republican congressman was seen with an American flag adjusted to have a swastika in the stripes that he proudly displayed in his cubicle in the United States Capitol complex. The same week, they have the audacity to go on TV and smear us, who are going to outline our hopes for the country, or go out and protest the attacks on our economy, farmers losing their well-being, government shutdown, firing government employees for no reason than because Donald Trump thought their department was a Democrat department. That's not freedom, folks. Their version of freedom is that we shut up and take their shit every day. I'm glad to see Democrats standing up. Shut the government down is a very extreme measure. But you know what? If we don't fight, we lose. And I'm not here to lose, folks. So here's Hakeem Jeffries standing up to him. I'm kind of happy to see it.
A matter of deep concern. Like we've already seen a rise in political violence and hatred in America. And then you've got swastikas apparently appearing in the offices of Republican members of Congress. You've got young Republicans engaging in the most anti-Semitic and racist speech possible. Like this is apparently who many of these people are. They are ripping the sheets off in plain view of the American people. Their words, their actions revealing themselves in so many different ways. And then you got Caroline Levitt, who's sick. She's out of control. And I'm not sure whether she's just demented, ignorant, a stone cold liar, or all of the above. But the notion that an official White House spokesperson would say that the Democratic Party consists of terrorists, violent criminals, and undocumented immigrants, this makes no sense. That this is what the American people are getting from the Trump administration in the middle of a shutdown. So their actions continue to speak for themselves, which is why they're on the wrong side of public sentiment.
Question those.
Couldn't have framed it better myself. She is the official White House spokesman. That means she's the official spokesman for the United States government. And she's going on TV, smearing us in the most vain, just vile ways. These are vile people. Look, I'd love to pretend that we can work with people like that. But the only thing we can do, folks, is take action peacefully and patriotically. Support your local campaigns. Support folks who are running for office. Get out there. Invest in our future of our country. Get in the fight. Let's talk about what's happening right now. So, look, we got a supersized show. I'm going to say it again, I'm sure. I've got not one guest, but two guests. They're both incredible. Rohit Chopra, of course, is the former commissioner, the director of the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. And, of course, my dear friend who I really have the most respect for, the junior senator from Delaware, Senator Lisa Blunt Rochester. This is a big show because it's a big time. And I hope you'll stay the whole time. I hope you'll share it. If you hit share real quick for me, you'll like. Tell your friends we're live. Tell your friends to watch the show. You know, we're live now here on Midas Touch, which means you guys see it live, but also it goes into the live category in the channel. So if you don't share it, let people know how great it is. We won't get to see it. So I really appreciate you guys being part of this. I'm very excited. I'm so excited for the show. So let's get on with the show. I'm Fred Wellman. This is On Democracy right here on the Midas Touch Network every Friday night. Let's get busy. Oh, man, we're back. We're live. We're here. It's Friday night or Friday morning. Who knows? I'm drinking coffee. Man, I'm fired up today. There's so much good stuff going on. I told you already about the No Kings Day protest tomorrow. I'm so fired up. I'm going to be all over St. Louis, Missouri, St. Louis County, out to Franklin County. We're going to be doing that. But my God, there's a lot going on in the world right now. And the biggest one, of course, we're wrestling with is the shutdown. We're dealing with bailouts. We're dealing with farmers losing their livelihood. And as always, I've got not just supersized show. We've got not one guest, but two guests. But I'm so excited to talk to Rohit Chopra. He is the former director of the CFPB, the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, former FTC commissioner, just all over our government. Education department. I looked up your bio, sir. You know, and all of this stuff has gone haywire since Donald Trump came into office. Of course, you're fired in February. You've been a loud voice telling Americans the stories of what's going on. I mean, welcome to the show, sir. It's great to have you here.
Well, thanks so much for having me, Fred, and I am just as fired up as you are.
Oh, that's good to hear because we're here. So I guess we'll start there. You know, one of the things I've been saying is that there's so much going on. We've got the middle of this government shutdown. Democrats are fighting for healthcare subsidies for working Americans after massive cuts by the Republicans. We face a crisis for our agriculture industry. I got a lot of soybean farmers where I live. They're devastated. They've basically killed an industry. But in the middle of that, very somewhat quietly almost, I think, for average Americans, we're bailing out Argentina of all places. And that is so big. We're talking $40 billion, 40B in money going to Argentina. Can you tell us about that astonishing number and what the hell is going on?
So, Fred, let's really look at this especially in the context that we're in a government shutdown. So
Right.
during this shutdown, so many essential services really are up in the air. We are seeing serious problems, federal workers missing their paycheck so much more. But you know what has been declared essential during this shutdown, critical during this
Critical. Most important
shutdown,
thing.
is a massive bailout for Argentina. Now, Argentina is basically copycatted a system that we did here. They started it first, which is they had a chainsaw wielding Doge style program run by a president named Javier Milei. They have cut things so much, and their economy is in free fall. Their currency is under major pressure, and global investors are running. So, for some reason, the United States Treasury has decided, let's go and bail them out. Treasury's got this fund that is supposed to protect the US dollar. The US dollar is not at risk. They are intervening just days before a key election in Argentina. And you mentioned the soybean farmers. The people who are most angry about this are our soybean farmers.
Right.
Across the country, soybean farmers are struggling and many are going bankrupt. That's because China is not buying any of our soybeans due to Trump's trade war. So here's the ironic part. Um, Guess who China is now buying soybeans from?
Wait. Argentina.
We are bailing out the country that is displacing our soybean farmers who normally export their biggest customer to China. So I think we all got to really peel back the layers of the onion on this. First of all, we are bailing out a politician. This is somebody who has embraced the MAGA movement. He is a strange person. He is known throughout Argentina for taking policy and political advice from his dead dog. He actually moved out to some sort of soothsayer or mystic to be able to communicate to his dog Conan, who he has now cloned. He also is caught up in this strange situation with his sister. His sister is his chief of staff, but has been caught on tape, potentially taking bribes. His other top deputy is caught up in a U.S. court case related to narco trafficking.
Well,
So
of course.
we are
Also passionate about. We're getting ready to check Venezuela because of narco trafficking, but we're bailing out the other country that's the narco trafficking.
Yeah, that's apparently that's facilitating it. So we are now throwing money. Last week, Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, announced that he's buying up pesos, Argentine pesos, in the open market. And already it looks like we are taking losses because the peso has declined in value. And Fred, how on earth are we doing this at a time when people here at home are not able to afford health care? Their premiums are going to surge. How on earth are we able to do this when local and state governments have been cut so much due to all the chaos in Washington, and we're doing nothing really for them? There are people who are dealing with huge amounts of credit card debt,
Yeah.
medical debt, medical bills. And now next month, we're going to see a big surge in new student loan bills since it's 6 months after peak graduation season. People are trying to make ends meet. Farmers are going bankrupt. And it feels like we're just being checkmated by China
Yep.
and throwing money out the door to prop up a foreign politician.
And I want to pull that thread too. I mean, Bissent is doing this on his own, essentially, right? I mean, there's no congressional oversight of any of this. I mean, they have the power to simply do this on their own and just tap into government. I don't. I'm new to America. I've only been here 60 years. Um, it seems like they're just acting on their own. And let's also be honest about this. This is not really bailing out Argentina. It's bailing out the global investors you mentioned at the top of the discussion, right? I mean, what we're really trying to save is Basent's friends, right? Trump's friends who've invested in Malay, aren't we? It's not really about Argentina as much as it is those investors.
Well, in 2024, the Wall Street Journal claimed that one of the most popular trades from hedge funds and big investors was buying up bonds in Argentina. And those bonds really declined in value. And so, yes, there has been reporting that it is hedge funds with political connections that are about to score big, big paydays. I don't have all the receipts. I'm looking for them because this to me just says it all. Why would we be shoveling money to the people at the very, very top, given what is happening to people all over the country that we cannot support or even open our government? So you're right. It is going to affect the wealthiest people. And you know who seems to not be asked for any sacrifice? We've also learned that there's over $200 billion, including in offshore accounts, that the wealthiest citizens in Argentina have. They should really be putting that back in their system rather than making US taxpayers pay. And you're right, Congress hasn't even debated it. We've heard from Republican senators who are skeptical. We've heard from Marjorie Taylor Greene. They say they're not liking this. We should take a recorded vote so we actually know who supports this,
Yeah.
because this is a fund that is supposed to protect the dollar. It is not supposed to be used to protect a politician.
It's just shocking, and it's such a I mean, it's a lot of money, and it's going unnoticed, and, of course, Congress is out, the House of Representatives isn't even coming to work, at least the Senate's doing some committee hearings, but the silence is deafening, isn't it? I mean, they've really, in a lot of ways and you had to deal with Congress when you were at the CFPB and FTC, they're supposed to be doing oversight, in the theory, this is their job, their Article 1 duties are oversight, and we're seeing none of that, are we? Basent and Vaught and all these guys, they're just doing whatever they want feel like doing, aren't they? It's just
Well, here's what's crazy. The Congress actually, they're supposed to have the power of the purse,
right.
where they're voting if they want to authorize foreign aid. They shut down basically everything at USAID, but they are doing foreign aid.
Right.
They are using backdoor ways to funnel money to politically connected people. And I think this is really just about politics. It is
Yeah.
not really about saving Argentina. And most analysts are saying that the bill for this could go way beyond $40 billion.
Right, because you had
That's
some
more
D.
money.
You invested in a peso, so we bought their money, and now as that decreases, that's more money out of our treasury, isn't it?
That's right. It's sad that Congress, we're hearing crickets from, and we're hearing privately that they're opposed. Well, then take a vote and block this bailout.
Have some courage. I saw a quote last week, where, Bannon told Wall Street Journal that they refer to the House of Representatives and Congress now as just like Putin's Duma. Just a red card, just a mat, the welcome mat for Trump to do whatever he wants. They're completely useless. They laugh about that at the White House, that the Congress will not do anything to lift a finger. And your experience, of course, as a federal official was a lot different. And the power of the purse, and that goes to tariffs, right? I mean, it's outrageous that I just saw an interview as we were getting ready to go live that Trump's saying he wants to do 137% tariffs on China now. They made him do it. Where's Congress? I mean, the House of Representatives has it in their remit to levy tariffs, don't they? And yet nothing's happening, is it?
Actually, Congress, they're the ones who are supposed to be deciding
Right.
tariffs.
Yeah.
The way the tariffs are being imposed is through really these backdoor national emergency, national security tricks. Look, we are seeing how much this trade war, I think China is looking at us and laughing.
Yeah.
They have just unleashed a new set of restrictions on something known as rare earths. These are key minerals, materials that we need to
Must have.
build,
Yep.
we need to build things with, and they do not seem to be backing down. And look who is suffering the most, actually. It's Fred, it's people in your backyard. It's farmers, it's small businesses, it's people who are around the corner from me. And most importantly, it is actually just one of many factors that is driving up the cost of living for all of us. We heard a lot about lowering costs, capping credit card interest rates. Americans have not seen really a penny in help.
And that takes us to the next topic. Of course, you were just left the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau in February. I am a fan of the CFPB because the CFPB did a lot of hard work for my fellow veterans, did a lot of hard work for my fellow military service members. Matter of fact, I'm a member of Navy Federal Credit Union, which you guys had discovered was overdraft fees, were illegal overdraft fees, and was supposed to pay $80 million and pay back all of those folks. It's been dismantled. That ruling was dismantled. I mean, tell people about I think in all this noise again, it's another example of something that's been lost in the noise is when your bureau was dismantled. Tell people how significant that is for average Americans.
Yeah, so just so people are clear on this, the CFPB is one of these agencies that really was created to police Wall Street so that they are not ripping off consumers and students and military service members, older Americans. During my time in office, I think we recovered close to $10 billion directly for people in restitution penalties, and made so much more to make sure that people were not being torn apart by ridiculous junk fees, by errors on their credit reports, and really just so that they could not get ripped off when it comes to just getting a loan or using a payment service.
Yeah.
So here's what we've seen. I hung on, I did not resign like others. I was fired in early February, and within weeks, we started to see their defund the police attack. They shut off all investigations, they shut off the inspections, and they started to do something really crazy, which was orders and settlements that were signed and sealed. They started ripping them apart. You mentioned Navy Federal Credit Union, which was caught in an illegal overdraft scheme, but it was more where they started ripping up those orders and settlements. Just the other day, Citibank, their settlement has been ripped off. They were caught illegally discriminating against Armenians, disqualifying everybody whose last name ended in YAN or IAN, which is common among Armenian Americans. And we found documents in which they basically said all of these people are fraudsters, all of them are criminals. That's illegal. So there's so many more. They have pardoned the likes of Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, companies even owned by the most powerful people in the country. And this is now, take a guess at how many enforcement actions they've taken since I was fired to recover money for people who were cheated. Zero.
Taking zero. Yeah, I saw that coming. It's insane.
They've
So I mean, so they're skirting the. I mean, the CFPB was established by law. It's a legal entity of the United States government. You were appointed elected official or official through a process. And so they're skirting, they're breaking the law in a lot of ways, but they're kind of they kept it as a shell of itself, so they're not actually dismantling. I mean, is that how they're skirting the law? I mean, I think that's what frustrates me too. I always go back to Congress, of course, for reasons, but they're breaking the law. The Congress established this by law, didn't they?
That's right. It was a bipartisan law. And you know what's funny, Fred? It is popular and bipartisan across the entire country, except in Washington, D.C., among the lobbyists and the most powerful firms. So look, this is going to cost people. It's not just going to cost people in more illegal fees and errors on their credit reports. It is a green light for companies to break the law with impunity with no real consequences. The results of this are going to be higher credit card rates, illegal foreclosures, and more problems. If we look at our monthly budget, everything seems to be going up. The electricity bill, the cost of groceries. You know what is also a huge burden on people? Those high interest rates. The Federal Reserve has started lowering them. We're not seeing a lot of lower rates from these large financial institutions.
They're making a profit that way, aren't they?
So, and we are seeing it just this week. Bank earnings came out and they were extraordinary, especially on some of their credit card businesses. So we heard during the campaign about Donald Trump wanting to do things like cap credit card interest rates or do things that would hold some of these financial firms accountable, and still waiting.
And it's like average Americans being hurt. I mean, I think I always keep circling back to that. You notice I never use the term middle class, lower class. It's working class Americans who aren't investors in banks, right? It's who aren't. I mean, even the stock market, majority of Americans aren't in the stock market. I mean, all these actions always circle back, and we're gonna have Senator Lisa Blunt Rochester on next, and talk about the shutdown. She's up on Capitol Hill. I had the chance to talk to her yesterday about that. The shutdown is a perfect example. While the Democrats are fighting for healthcare subsidies and working Americans who need this help, the Republicans insist on their constituency isn't average Americans anymore, is it? This shutdown hurts us. It doesn't hurt any of them.
Well, let me actually share with you that one of the things that people feel that folks that struggle with their finances, that they're bad at budgeting or bad, they spend too much, they buy too many coffees.
Yeah, like avocado toast, right?
The data shows something different, Fred, which is that the people who file for bankruptcy or struggle the most, the top reasons that they are falling into a financial free fall is because they either lost their job or have a major illness. And the truth is we're seeing illness, chronic illness, cancer diagnosis. These are the types of things that can make someone's life totally collapse physically and financially. So when I see that we're having this surge in more medical debt, we have people who get medical bills for the same service, one from the hospital, one from the practitioner, multiple copays, the deductibles. You're in a doom loop to fight all of this. At the CFPB, we did a lot to crack down on the debt collectors, then parking debt on your credit reports. But when I see what's happening now, the willingness to shut down the government in order to deprive people of affordable health insurance. Look, I think the health insurance system is so broken.
Oh,
We need a
right.
totally different system, but
Yep.
people are going to face huge premium increases soon. And that's just not going to affect them. It's going to affect their employers as well. That means it's going to be a more likely people will get laid off, not get hired, or face potential financial destruction if they have one accident or illness. And I think that this should not be happening in our country. And not only should we get people affordable insurance and avoid this cliff, we should really be paying attention to all the ways that pharmaceutical companies, that hospital mergers and conglomerates, that nursing home, private equity investment in nursing home, all of this needs to be more part of the way people are pushing for change in Washington.
Everything's about profit margin now, right? I mean, everything we talk about, all the things all the industry you described is now all driven by a profit motive and not a mission motive. It's all driven by the bottom line for the investors, the VCs, the hedge funds, as you mentioned. It feels like we're in a kleptocracy right now, or a castocracy, and it's circling right back to where we started this conversation. The bailout of Argentina is actually going to try and save hedge funds. It's going to help Scott Bessent's former friends, and when he was a VC himself. I mean, in the end, we're facing a moment of where the billionaires and the big corporations, the investors, are running this country, and average Americans that you defend the CFPB, we're all going to lose. I mean, that's the crisis we face. Much more than the authoritarianism in a lot of ways. I mean, you think almost in a lot of ways that the fight against authoritarianism is missing oligarchy part of it? I mean, does that make sense? What I'm asking is like,
Well, I actually would
does that
disagree
make
in
sense?
some ways. I think
Please.
it's the same problem.
It's the same.
When you have that much power, economic, financial power concentrated in such few hands, that creates the conditions for almost a merger of government and big business. We all saw the front row at Donald Trump's inauguration.
Right.
It was the biggest tech titans in Silicon Valley. We have seen how that has wielded more control over our everyday lives. And until we address this extreme concentration of corporate power, we will not be able to fix our democracy and stop this type of abuse. You mentioned, Fred, there's so many ways that people used to not be in debt. We used to not have student debt. We used to not have all this medical debt. But we've seen the more involvement by investors, private equity, others to take control of this, to load it with debt and make more profit, that we have all paid the price and we have not gotten the benefits in terms of a better higher education system or healthcare
Right.
system.
Right. And then that circles right back to the whole point, right? That working Americans, average Americans, not part of the ownership class, if you will, they're all paying the price. And their voices are being suppressed. Tomorrow's No King's Day. I ran a video at the top where they're calling it the Hate America rally. The Republicans are, attacking us. When it's just America's trying to get their voices heard, right? It's just trying to. I guess that's for me the crime of CFPB going away. It was one of the few agencies that was truly designed, I think, with the actual consumer, the average American in mind, in our government. I mean, yeah, even VA. I think the goal of that organization was so had such merit, in such a quiet way, and they dismantled it so eagerly and so quickly. Were you surprised how fast they came after you?
You know, it's hard. It's hard to totally know why they would really want to undermine something that, if you look at if the numbers, this is something that helps people regardless, blue state, red state, rural, urban. I think this is something that's really about our political system. It works super well for people who already have money and power. If we look at the 2008 financial crisis, many of those very large banks who were responsible for the problems, they actually got bigger and more powerful afterward because of those bailouts. We do not. So, a few years ago, Silicon Valley Bank got bailed out, and now JP Morgan got even bigger. This is something where it just feels there's no accountability in our society anymore. There is no equal justice under the law. And if you don't have power and money, you are held to a different set of standards. And I just think that's really wrong. A lot of people are saying, Rohit, be careful. You keep criticizing some of these things. And you mentioned, you know, people saying you hate America or whatever. I actually think the best way you can express your love for our country is to really defend it and make sure that it's working for everybody, not just a handful of people at the top here in the US or in Argentina.
Yeah. That's why we came here. My family goes, we're some of the OGs are also some of the Ellis Islands, and our family came here for a better life, from a better world. I had Irish, it's like that's the whole point. There's the whole point of this nation, and it does feel like we've lost that. That's a great place to finish. I can't thank you for your time enough. I appreciate it. We're gonna have to get you back on again. You're my finance guy now. And thanks for what you're doing. I mean, I really do appreciate the fact you're carrying the battle still. You're still fighting online. You're still speaking up. You're joining people like me to talk about and educate people. So keep up the fight, sir. I really do appreciate it.
All right.
I know this audience sure appreciates it.
Thanks again.
Thanks so much. Talk to you soon. Hey guys, I have got a really great new sponsor. And so, sometimes you get sponsors for your show and you're so excited. And when I heard that Duke.com was going to sponsor On Democracy, sometimes do you guys ever go shopping and go online to look for an item. I mean, maybe wherever website you're going to, and you go down what we would all call a rabbit hole. Let me tell you about the rabbit hole I've been going down with dupe.com, because the fact is dupe.com is a remarkable website. It lets you find any product in your user. If you're browsing for a product, you can just type in dupe.com// and then before the item you're looking at. And dupe.com using AI will find a matching or similar product for a reasonable price. Because look, the secret is a lot of things we buy at expensive places, and that's furniture, jewelry, fashion, whatever it may be, shoes, your favorite things. They're made in the same factories very often with very small differences in quality and price, but the pricing can be very different based on where you buy it. So if you're online shopping, it's great to find the discounts, and dupe.com finds them. I was looking for new shirts because I know you guys noticed I'm a Henley guy. I'm always wearing I don't know. It's my thing. I can't explain it. Man, you could just type that in. You go to the website, dupe.com, and then type in the product you're looking for. And it comes up using AI with a list of affordable places you could find good quality products. I tell you, I'm a total convert. I'm so thrilled to have a sponsor on Democracy. And it's very easy. Dupe.com really is so easy. Like I said, you just type dupe.com / before any product URL in your browser, and boom, it instantly finds you less expensive alternatives. They even have you an app and a browser extension you can download. There's no account required, no sign required. It's completely free to use. So stop wasting money on brand names and start saving with dupe.com. I am so happy to have them as a sponsor. I'm so sorry they've eaten up so much of my time shopping now. But me and my fiance are loving it, and I highly recommend it. I'm so happy. Check it out again. That's dupe.com. Use it today. You won't regret it. Thanks. So during the sponsor break, I decided to follow up on our conversation with Rohit about President Milei of Argentina. Here's the dog that he speaks to. Here's his. Look at he has cloned his dog 5 times. And I love my dogs. You guys know I love them. If you follow me, you know I lost River Dog last year, and I got Maple Dog now. But he's cloned his dog 5 times because he believes he speaks to the dog, and the dog's his number one advisor. But here's the kicker that Rohit mentioned briefly. I don't know if you heard it, but okay. Did you know that after Scott Bessent announced the first tranche of this bailout of this country that's failing because of this guy who talks to his dog, the same guy who just is so struggling right now, he needs 20 billion, now 40 billion for the United States, held this concert, a rock concert in his honor, to defy his own party who's mad at him. That's the president of Argentina, who we're bailing out for $40 billion. Can you see why? I mean, can you see why we're bailing him out? Why Trump maybe has a special place in his heart for this guy? Yeah, me too. That's who we're bailing out. And we're in a government shutdown. We have House of Representatives members at home chilling out. Meanwhile, the Senate is still working. I'm thrilled to have our next guest. I actually spoke to her yesterday because trying to get a senator on the show sometimes is hard, but a great conversation with my friend Lisa Blunt Rochester, Senator Lisa Blunt Rochester. Let's talk to her now. You know, I told you we always get great guests here, and this is no mistaking that this time. We're in the middle of a shutdown, so who better talk to her than our friend, Senator Lisa Blunt Rochester. Senator Blunt Rochester, of course, represents Delaware. Ma'am, welcome back to the show. It's good to see you. How you doing?
Thank you, Fred. Thank you so much. And, the question isn't how am I doing? The question is, how are we doing? How's America doing? And right now, I just came back from the Senate floor where I voted for the 10th time to restore healthcare and open the government back up. So, and I have a short amount of time now because I'm running back to meet with my Democratic colleagues to talk about what's next. And so, thank you for the opportunity to talk to folks and to let people know that we're fighting for them.
And that's it. We're talking on Thursday, of course. Where do you see it going right now? I mean, this is, I know people are getting tired. It's been a couple of weeks. Shutdowns hurt everybody. I know you guys are painfully aware of that. You and I have talked before. I know how that's why you're in politics, because you're of the folks you represent. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah. You know, as you mentioned, Fred, like even when I ran the very first time for the House back in 2016, I came in with Donald Trump. I came in the minority. I I was there when he did his shutdown before, and
Yep.
the reality is I ran after seeing a dad put back grapes because they were $9, and right now people are struggling even more. Uh, Housing costs are up, which is why I, has that's one of my number one focuses here in the Senate. Food prices are up, energy prices are up, and what we're trying to do is try to avoid a healthcare catastrophe with people's healthcare costs going up, doubling, quadrupling. And so, right now in this moment, number one, you can't have a negotiation if half of the people negotiating are not even, not only are they not here in DC, they're not at the table, they're just not, they're not here. And so, number one, you got to be at the table in order to have a negotiation. Number two, we have to have a clear objective. And again, like I said, millions of people are going to lose their health care. Millions of people are going to see their costs go up. And unfortunately, also, millions of people could face really life and death situations here. And so,
Yeah.
sense of urgency has to be there. The willingness to keep our eyes on the prize, and that's what we're doing right now. Is just saying that's important. And so, two other things I will say is, um, we as Democrats have held steady in our belief that we can do both. We put forward a proposal. I think ultimately the Speaker Johnson has to have his members back here, and a second to that, Donald Trump needs to know that if people are keeping it from him, all Americans, not just in blue states, not just in red states, actually disproportionately in red states,
Yeah, I know.
are
He's
going to
one of
be
them.
hurt by us not acting in this very present moment.
Yeah, and that's the issue, isn't it? I mean, for me, what you laid out there early is a perfect storm of problems for folks. It's you can't just take the healthcare price increase on its own in a vacuum. It's on top of a massive affordability crisis, a massive food crisis. The soybean industry absolutely collapsing because of Donald Trump's tariffs. If we just took the healthcare increases at alone, that's bad, right? But this is going to tip a lot of people over the edge.
Right. And it also doesn't, it just doesn't make sense to me that you would take away healthcare, you would take out of folks' mouths food,
Yep.
whether it's SNAP or WIC or things like that, but you would also attack, you know, jobs, because
Right.
it's not just federal workers, it is our federal workers. That's going to have an impact on the services that we receive. Are you in line in Social Security to get your benefits? TSA, our air traffic controllers, our military, and our farmers. I come from a state that's also an ag state. So you mentioned the soybean issue. I think in this moment, we're going to have to face the fact that there's an affordability crisis, and tied to that are, well, who is actually doing well?
Right.
Who are the beneficiaries of these things that they're doing?
Yep.
And it literally is, those billionaires, those people who were sitting behind him on the day that he was took that oath of office.
Yep.
So
And you've been attacking the housing crisis issue, especially. That's been a passion of yours. That's how you came into politics. When we talk affordability crisis and laws, I talk about where I give speeches for reasons that my own sons worked for a great corporate job, but can't get out of a starter home. We're seeing a massive gap between median income and median house price, like never in history, aren't we?
exactly. I mean, it is estimated that in this country, we're 4 to 7 million housing units short. And that's at all levels of housing. And it was probably one of the number one issues that wasn't talked a lot about by the media, but my constituents up and down the state, whether they needed workforce housing, whether they were, they wanted to just kind of get their first home, it's unreachable, unattainable for many people. And so my first piece of legislation was a housing bill. If you'll recall, we did a housing bill for veterans as a result of, coming out of COVID and making sure that, that they didn't lose their homes and their mortgages. And then I unveiled an agenda called the New Way Home agenda on housing, and it is a comprehensive agenda that deals with everything from building housing that's affordable to creating safer communities by thinking about how we build purpose-built communities to looking at tax credits. It is a comprehensive agenda, and three of my bills are part of a Senate focus on the Road to Housing package, which is bipartisan. So, um, we got real work to do
Yeah.
to help folks. And in this moment, if anybody knows Speaker Johnson or Donald Trump, uh, tell him that LBR said, "Let me be blunt. You need to get to the table so we can get some work done on behalf of the American people."
Are you seeing any cracks in your opponents? I mean, are your colleagues? I'm sorry, this is the Senate. Your dear colleagues across the aisle. I mean, are you seeing any discomfort? I mean, are they talking? I know they're holding hearings. The House went home. My representative's home, chilling out, posting on social media. Your colleagues are actually there, aren't they?
Yeah, they are here. And, I actually was involved in a huddle right on the Senate floor. It was Democrats and Republicans, and having a real honest conversation about what the stakes are and about issues of trust, even. I mean, I've only been in the Senate for 10 months, but, eh, for me in this moment, why it's so pivotal is because we can't simply have a handshake.
Right.
We can't simply have, "We're friends, we've been friends." We need to see things in writing. We need to see actual bills, and we need to continue to stay strong in our convictions. And so, yes, I've had conversations with Republicans, but ultimately, I think what's going to happen is that it's going to require Speaker Johnson, to bring the Senate back. I mean, the House back, and it's going to require the president to actually get involved, because what we don't want is the Republicans go through all of this and then, like, Charlie Brown and Lucy, they just snatch the football out from under us. So we need some concrete, real evidence that when we reopen this government, we also want to make sure that we're restoring people's health care from that big, ugly bill.
Yeah, the Big Billionaire Bill, I call it, because that was the largest transfer of wealth. Yeah, like it rolls, doesn't that? It's what it is. It just slides all the time. And I know you got to go, but I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the shocking things we're seeing on the streets of Chicago and Portland. And I know you were in Delaware. I don't know if you guys you're not the crosshairs yet, but a lot of our cities are. Are you seeing discomfort at all on Capitol Hill with the actions that are being done in the name of our government at all?
You know, Personally, I think there should be outrage, not just in Capitol Hill, but across this country for what we are seeing. I mean, you think about deploying our National Guard against our own citizens. Um, you think about weaponizing the justice system against, you know, uh, attorney generals, my colleague, Adam Schiff. You think about trying to silence people's speech, whether it's Jimmy Kimmel or trying to use the IRS to go after groups like Indivisible.
Yeah.
Literally, as we run down these, asking newspaper outlets to sign a pledge, telling law firms or universities that you have to you comply with our wishes. These things. This is why the No Kings rally that's coming up. Why so many people are engaged, and I think my message to the folks that are listening is that while this feels heavy, and it is, what makes the difference is if each one of us in our individual way or capacity stands up in this moment. So to the people that go to the rallies, that's important. To the airports that said, no, we're not going to display this partisan message in our airport. To the universities that have said, no, we're not going to sign a pledge, or even the media outlets. Each person, the people who stood up and said to Disney and other places, no, we will take our money and go. And the same is true with the people who said to Target, we will take our money and go. Each of us in our own collective ways, this is the moment to do what you can do. I always use the example of my best friend Michelle when I was running the first time for office, and she said, "Lisa, I don't have $1,000 to give you for your campaign, but you're running all up and down the state. You're losing weight. I can make you pots of spaghetti. I can make you beef stew." Michelle did her part. Do your part right now. That's it.
Everybody needs a Michelle right now in their lives. Every candidate needs a Michelle. With that,
You
I know
will
you're-
learn. Yes.
I will learn. I think I was the one that's coming with me too. So either way, I know you're very busy. You got to go to caucus meeting. Thanks for taking time for us. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. It's an honor, pleasure. Yes, ma'am. You too. Thanks for representing us up there. Keep up the fight, man.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye now. I'm never going to pass a chance to talk to Senator Lisa Blunt Rochester, period. She's a great American. She fights for us every day up there. I've had the privilege to get to know her in the last year, and I mean it when I say it's a privilege. This is what we're facing. Of course, we record this interview on Thursday, so who knows what's going to happen in the next 24 hours. It's the danger of having a podcast in the modern world today, right? Unless you're live for sure, you never know what's going to happen in the news. But we do know this is as of Thursday at noon, the fight is on. Trying to convince our friends in the Republican Party that they're hurting Americans and it's dirty business they're doing. And a lot of people are going to suffer because of this insanity. So look, and glad we have people like Senator Lisa Blunt Rochester up there. Obviously, we had a great show today, a longer show than usual. I really want to have a full show for you this week. There's so much going on in the country. There's so much to talk about. In the end, we face a critical moment for the United States. As we face tomorrow as is No King's Day. I hope a lot of you are going out there. The idea that the Republicans are trying to spin it as anti-American, there's nothing more American than on earth and peacefully and patriotically in treating your government and change its ways. This is the most patriotic thing we can do. So I urge you to go out. I urge you to be peaceful. I urge you to be kind to each other. I urge you to show them that we're not afraid. They want us afraid. The smearing, the threats of investigating the organizers. I'll never, the dumbest shit is going on as far as this. Like we showed some of it at the top of the hour, the idea that matching signs shows that there's a subversive element. My God, they don't seem worried about matching guns, but they are worried about matching signs. It says everything about this government and Republican Party of today. So with that, I will not keep you much longer. It's been a great show. I hope you enjoy it with two guests and a lot to talk about. Of course, the finale with our friend Senator Lisa Blunt Rochester. We've got a lot going on, folks. So I hope you'll subscribe to our Substack. That's a great place to find out what's going on with me these days. My other project that I'm doing, I'm very proud of. You can support us there. You can always learn more about our work all over the web. Follow me at FP Wellman Official or FP Wellman on all my social media channels. It's a great place to find us. We're still here every Friday night, right in the Midas Touch Network, talking about the things that matter to you with on democracy, things that are affecting our democracy and the things that are affecting our government, you especially. We do face a critical moment in the United States. We face a moment of great, great angst and great, great fear. And we are the power to change that. They want us scared. They want us to surrender. They want us to believe the next election is not going to happen or there's no way to win it. Even the media is chiming in. Oh, the Democrats probably aren't going to win now. Shut up, okay? They can gerrymander us to hell, but we vote. We vote. We have the power in our hands. Media horse racing 13 months after the election. Save me your bullshit of the horse race. We are just getting started, folks. Just getting started. So take the energy that can propel you out tomorrow for No King's Day and take that energy into the election, helping campaigns, helping candidates, being the Michelle, like Senator Blunt Rochester said, the one who helps your candidate just keep on their feet and keep going. Those are the things that matter, not what these fools are saying and lying about us and smearing our good names. Let them smear. We don't care. We're in the fight. So with that, I'm Fred Wellman. This is On Midas FP Wellman right here every Friday night on the Midas Touch Network. Appreciate all you. Keep up the fight. Remember, we're not done yet. Thanks.